Welcome to Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean here on Revolution Radio Studio A. Big thank you to Tony and Co for the Y-Files. Why not? And crew, if you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can, because we're 100% listener supported and 100% volunteer. So we're just 100%. So every donation does help. Just the price of a coffee, because maybe in these day and age, just dial back on the caffeine just the once. Don't go to Starbucks or anything else. Anyway, once you've shared what you can, obviously, pop into the chat room, hang out with awesome people. Flippy is going by Flippy Dean this week, and I wish I wrote all the different code names that the Flipster has changed with Flippy Wood, Colling Flip, Flippy Monty, whatever it was. It was just really strange, very odd. Anywho, let's see. Now the rain's finally stopped here in Melbourne. It's a bit moist in the old Melbourne town. I'm not saying it's raining a lot, but my neighbour Noah is out there with a lump of wood screaming, "How long's a cubit?" I'm just saying, anyway. Now, my correspondent from New South Wales is here as well, the wonderful Cortek. And, Cortek, what's this rumour that a politician did what a politician does and lied about the roadmap out of lockdown hell? And how are you?
Which one, Australia? Or I was just having a little laugh about that Noah gag. That's pretty good.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. That's the joke for the tonight. The rest of it's just going to be boring entertainment stuff. No, of course. Well,
so what are they talking about? What are they talking about in the news?
Yeah. The Premier of New South Wales has gone, that whole sort of December 1st date. Well, we're just pushing it back to December the 15th. Oh, and shit. It's not 1990%. No, it's 95 now. I'm like,
this is the whole moving.
You turned pretty quickly.
These guys just give them an inch, they take a mile. It's unbelievable. And this is in a whole nother month of this. That's assuming it was on December. It's like, no, this is not good enough. This is just boring everyone not to listen to you again. This is absolutely ridiculous. Week 86 of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It is beyond a joke. Every single day just flattens the whole thought that anything can be done within this system.
Well, I've had issues with family members, and if you really want to know, come and meet me face to face. That should throw a cat amongst the pigeons. I'm not going to go through my personal life on here. Unfortunately, my Dr. Two Feathers has pointed out I haven't been jabbed. However, he's apparently telling that to everyone, that no one's not jabbed. So that's called a running gag. And no, I haven't had the COVID vaccine or shot or anything else like that. And I can't be bothered typing into the chat at this point in time. So let me just say, all hail the Roe Nation. And he is our true leader, and everything else like that. What was it? Oh yeah, it's I'm over being over it. So I really don't have nowhere else to go apart from, I don't know, what are my options here? Saying meh a lot.
Yeah, I have always an option.
Yeah, I have moved on from aha. Especially now New South Wales, the vaccinated will be brought back into society 2 weeks later, and it's 95% of vaccination.
It's all those stats are just completely made up the whole way. I don't believe we got above 46% of people who got
Well, let's play the numbers game. Allegedly, who knows, everything in the age of misinformation. Or
this age.
Yeah. Meh.
In the age of meh.
Yeah, welcome to the age of meh. You will do nothing. All right. Generation X is taking over the planet. You can tell the baby boomers are dropping off. Now it's Gen X. Yeah, whatever, dude.
Watch out.
Oh, now try and remember what I was talking about. Damn.
Stop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 4,000 health workers in Queensland have been stood down because there's a health crisis.
Yeah, that's a smart move. Was that the government who made that decision again?
Of course it did. Yeah.
Smart guys, smart people. These are the people we want making the decisions that affect everyone. These people with less than average mental ability.
Yeah, now I've got to word this correctly because it can be, well, no one from the left listens to this, but I do know people that aren't your average template for humans.
Oh.
They have, they may have MS or they're in a wheelchair or something like that.
Oh.
No, well, they're living life fully and they understand that, he makes me laugh and I make him laugh.
Sometimes that can make people really good drivers and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like they've been dealt their cards and they're like, all right, let's roll with that because you can't say run. That's hard. Let's roll. My point is, even people like like they are much more smarter and have compassion and empathy than the idiots in charge. And he's from Canada, and so it's like I don't like him talking about Justin. Apparently, also in Canada, because I'm on a roll now. In Canada, there are internal emails in government departments. They're not allowed to use. They're not allowed to use "Let's Go Brandon." So I wrote
as their signature, as their email signature,
something like that. Yeah, just to sign off. Let's go, Brandon. So I said, what about frack you, Justin? Obviously, I didn't say frack, but I'm on radio.
But you could have when people would have known what you meant.
F you. Well, like the protesters on Saturday here in Melbourne, F Dan Andrews. It's like, we don't need no.
Was that the big one in front of the courtyard, in front of the town hall or something?
No.
I saw one that Real Rush Gun did, and there's a guy got up there and had like a 5-minute speech to the cops who was a former cop.
Yes. Stuff. Yep, that was Friday. I think that was Friday, but the Saturday one was no, that was it Tuesday? It was this week. I have a Victorian on the line, so I'll just get to him in a second. He may be able to. He deals with code. Hint. He may for the audience.
Seems like Melbourne's the only state that's awake and aware to this is still going on. Like everyone else is just going on.
No. Oh, how dare you? The banana benders are going off like a frog in a sock.
Are they? Excellent.
Oh yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, the police won't beat the crap out of them, so there's that for starters. And they even started chanting at one point, "Wake up, Australia," because Queensland hasn't been hit as hard as New South Wales and Victoria. No, my points wandered off on me. Oh, damn, where are I? Come here. Stupid point.
Queensland.
No, it was before that. No, there was because you had it's the racing carnival here in Victoria, and I don't care. I don't even care about Nup to the Cups. Like I just don't even
was
give
that
it.
Yesterday?
Yes.
No one cares. No. Oh, finally, it's the race that doesn't stop a nation. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, and about 10,000. Anywho, I'll bring on the Pones because Pony is here, and I'm just stretching out the old introduction so he can put down his pencil sharpener and his pencil holder, and he can cough, and then hey, Russ Daman. Pony, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Pain one afternoons.
I had to see you excited.
I'm very elegant.
You been to the races?
I'm racist, yes.
No, yeah. He likes to talk about horse. Well, he's a pony.
Yeah, the race that stopped the nation.
Not anymore. Thank goodness.
Well, because you're going to get double dosed and die. Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, because you're not allowed to go that kind of thing. And it's in a completely different state.
So, should we start a betting pool on 2 weeks from now if there's a mass spikes in COVID? Now, I don't think there will be because most people are outside. There's still, my understanding is scientifically, there's still no actual report of transmission outside. That wacky wind and sun. But yeah, there's some rooms and tents, and so.
Oh, they'll try it on, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
The public is not having a bar of it. And newsrooms across the nation are going, look, guys. Every single COVID story we put up there is tanking. we got to put some fluffy cat stories up there and stuff.
Well, have you noticed? I glanced at the ABC website because the things I do for my listeners, I have to find. I should at least glance at what's going on in the world so I have material.
What'd you do?
Well,
I'll get my little violin out.
They found her. They found
Yes,
the little
they
girl.
found the 4-year-old that went missing. It's been 18 days or something ridiculous like that.
18 days.
Yes. So now on the
Who is she,
upside,
MacGyver?
well, maybe
3 years old,
so
able
like-
to last for 14 months in the forest.
No, she was found in a locked house. But my point is, yay, a toddler has been found. What about all the other
That's a real
ones?
story.
Yeah, what about all the other ones? But it's fascinating. It's like, the nation is weeping and blah blah blah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Don't you speak for me, news companies.
Yeah.
I wasn't weeping.
Well, that was the Western Australia Police Commission. Was like, yeah, I live in Victoria. We don't really have a interesting relationship with the police anymore. Mainly because I don't want to be shot.
We don't talk. We've drawn a line down the room, a la I Love Lucy,
Yep.
and we've got the toilet side.
It's the odd couple with violence. I don't know which one's. Is Felix the clean one?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I should actually watch it. They did a reboot of that with Matthew Perry. Was it Matthew Perry? The guy from Friends that unfortunately went the hard road to get where he is
so sad
now.
when they tried to reboot all of their careers afterwards.
Yeah, but he played he was Felix. He was the neurotic clean guy, and I can't remember who the other because it's a two-hander meeting. There's two people, and so there's the slob, and then there's the clean freak, and they've got like a ticker tape type thing, like a Rounds Radio City Music Hall where you've got that moving flashing and light thing.
Yeah.
And it just kept saying "F you." And Matthew's going, it took me 3 days to realise it meant Felix Unger because he thought it meant something else. And that's the only joke I saw of that. And I'm like, oh, that's worth watching. Maybe not now. But
That was just a candid comment from me, though. That was in the show.
yeah. No. No, it was actually in the show. It was
no.
on screen. Mind you, I just finished watching season 4 of Snowfall. And I really should stop watching American dramas about drugs and the inner city youth, because if I hear the N word one more time, I'm getting, if you really want to see how programming and brainwashing works on you, watch all the 5 seasons of The Wire and 4 seasons of Snowfall, and try not to say Nigerian, because
that sounds awful.
Well, it is, because the characters are using it across the board, and it's like I thought this word's bad, but there's like 400 times it's been said in 40 minutes.
Yeah, does it make it more street or more realistic? Maybe that's what happens in the street. I don't know.
Well, yeah, obviously, it's a drama.
Yeah,
it's not a fantasy.
I'm sure it makes it more dramatic to use words like that all the time, stuff like that. But does it really happen anymore?
But that's how they actually. That's the point I'm making. Apparently, no one else can say the word except for the African Americans, and it's very hard to sing along to rap songs nowadays. Yeah, I even watch. I'm so deep into urban city living in the United States. I actually watched Straight Outta Compton again, the director's cut, the 2 hour and 45-minute thing, which is the story of NWA, which I can't explain what that stands on. Nigerians with attitudes. So.
Yeah, okay. Wasn't Ice Cube like not from this project? Wasn't Ice Cube like from the, from?
He's from the hood, yo.
Was
No,
he?
he grew up in Compton. He lived on the he didn't live on the streets. He lived with the streets. And
Maybe it's Ice-T. Maybe Ice-T. Was it Ice-T? Who knows? One of them was playing.
out of hundreds of rappers, one of them didn't.
It's iced coffee. Sure.
Yeah,
iced
coffee.
Yeah.
And he had the smaller guy latte. Hey. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for the Wheel of Time. I need to go back into fantasy again because going outside is quite fanciful. Petrol, which is what we call gasoline here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's going through. It was up to 183. It's down to about 164 a litre. For those who use the imperial measurements, do some math. I'm tired of doing it for you. I'm just saying it.
Change systems. Get with the program.
Yeah. The 3 countries in the world don't use the metric system. One of them's the United States.
I think they only still use it because it is actually called imperial and there's some status associated with it. If it was called System B, I think.
Well,
sorry, that would be System A. It would be System A, wouldn't it? But then, even then, there's a hierarchy.
No, well, imperial is more nature-based. The metric system is you can go to Mars and still a kilometre is a kilometre, but a mile is more rooted in the actual measurements of nature on Earth, which doesn't really work when you go to Mars, which is much smaller.
Yeah, it seems closer to, but also kind of in between the real ones, so it doesn't really matter anyway.
Well, I mean, it's
we use furlongs anymore. That's what I'd like to know.
Well, leagues,
spans,
yes.
So hands are different sizes.
Well, if you go from a good Doctor Who episode, it's up to 3 Bernards, because he had to create his own measurement system. Because I think it's four Bernards to a Kevin or something like that. I digress. So yeah, and also with Straight Outta Compton, there's a quick flash of Tupac alive. Obviously, it's an actor because the real one got killed by the FBI. Oh, sorry.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, actually, because I watched Snowfall, I watched a documentary on Freeway Rick. What's his last name? Oh no,
James
Ross, not Ross. James. No. Cortek. Here's the difference. One sold a lot of cocaine. The other one did a lot of cocaine. The one you're thinking of is the musician. He did a lot of it. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Rick Ross, yeah, and he actually he sued a rapper because he stole his name. Anyway, it is fascinating. Gary Webb, who allegedly killed himself by shooting himself in the head twice with a shotgun. Now, if it's a double-barrel shotgun, that kind of makes sense. But if it's a single barrel, how did he do that? That's so creepy. I just went back to Jack Nicholson falling off a cathedral in Batman 1989, and that's just degrading. Thanks for that. I will place that horn.
That's all. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, so please donate to Revolution Radio so I can get a better sidekick. No, I kid.
What's going on then, Pony? Any news?
Can you hear me?
Can do.
Just?
What?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's raining here. I don't know.
Test.
It's raining tacos.
Yeah, no, I went to Seymour for the weekend, and I'll send you a link.
What'd you see more of?
You don't want to answer that question.
And
it's a place, is it?
Actually, it's not a place. It's just one guy that lives there called Seymour.
Nice.
Yeah.
Seymour! Always with the magnets.
So you're telling me the Arboreal Olaras is in your kitchen, localized in your kitchen at 2:00 in the afternoon. Yes. Can I see it? No. It just sounds like the Victorian government, where I've got some legislation to vote for. Can we look at the bill? No. What's wrong with you? Just vote for it. You'll be fine.
Can we look at the deal you made with the farmer manufacturers? No. Like, why? How can public servants all of a sudden decide what not to share?
Yeah, it's interesting with Planet Collingwood because our orbit is 6 hours and 6 days and 22 hours. 5 years in, still can't get that right. But we're stationary for 2 hours. See how that works.
Man.
However, apparently there's a climate conference in Scotland where everyone flew in on private planes. Well done, chaps, ladies.
Because it's hard to get protesters there or something.
Yeah, something. Regreta Thunberg, which sounds like a Swedish way of saying I did a big poo.
No one gives a crap about her anymore. There's a new
know,
chick,
you'd be wrong.
Anyone who does it just is behind the times. There's a new chick who came out and did an address to the UN a day or two ago, and she's got she's from South America or something like that. She's got a big headdress on. She's got she's talking about the planet. No one cares about Greta's whinges anymore. It's like when child actors grew up a little bit and then they failed to be cute anymore and didn't get any more work.
I just throw in the liquor store. Yeah,
that's what's facing Greta now, I reckon.
Yeah, but the thing, like my mum's gave her description of Greta, and I'll just move on. However, I just she's been doing this 5 or 6 years now, and still hasn't said the word China.
Did I mention the new chick has a headdress?
Yes.
That link I sent you, boys, don't pass it on, please. Just keep it to yourselves again and observe the panoir in Seymour.
Seymour Butts?
He stayed at Lower Seymour Butts. It's just outside of town.
Oh, we're in the Highlands.
Upper Seymour Butts.
Oh, that looks in the bush. That looks beautiful.
Yeah. I like Billy Connolly. He's like, before I came to Australia, I was wondering, they're not. Geez. Oh, there we go. I was like, wow, Red Hills. Then it actually. Oh, look, dwelling, and it's sunny and there's green, and you went to Hobbiton. Isn't that lovely?
That looks really nice. I want to do some serious camping this summer.
Yeah, well, I may join you. Just I'll be called a refugee, so we'll see what happens there.
I know a place in Seymour.
Yeah, well, but that's still under the tyrannical rule of Das Führer Andrews.
All right, I'm gonna lock that link.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That looks really super nice. Good weather.
Yeah, great audio medium, but we'll just everyone. What? Speak up at the back there. What?
We're having issues with my mic. I'm going to have to fix this. Okay.
He's got to come up a little bit.
Yeah, just a tad. You sound a bit muffled. I don't know if you've got a cold or COVID. We'll see what happens. I'm willing to, despite my family, I'm willing to go get COVID and go, haha, I don't need to be vaccinated now. And I didn't need a ventilator either. I'm hoping that I've already had it. That will stuff up everyone's plans.
I think that's what everyone's just got to assume.
But I was told
that's not true. It's not
the
true.
unvaccinated
way to get through everything.
Yeah, the unvaccinated are dangerous, and it's a classic thing of so your vaccine doesn't work. I'm just wondering. It's
logic. Computer says no.
Basically, yeah. It's.
How's this? Is this better? Worse?
It's better and worse at the same time.
It's a louder phone instead of a muffled.
Oh,
my God. Yeah. Let's speak Australian to lose all our international listeners. Oh my God, mate, how are you? All right?
Good.
What the hell was that?
Any different?
Yeah, that sounds all right. Yeah.
To be honest, it sounded all right to begin with.
Yeah, that sounds all right. So he clicks on mute. Thanks for that. So where we're talking about the climate change where they haven't brought up China. China's not there. We have to stop.
Were they invited?
Oh no, probably. I'm sure that. Do you think we should talk to the Chinese? Yeah, at least at least print the invite and send it off. Mind you, if it's Australia Post, it probably hasn't got to them yet. I found out I was moving last Wednesday or Thursday. And sending it by registered post hasn't turned up yet. It may
come up to 3 to 4 weeks late.
Yeah, I can walk to the real estate agent office in about half an hour.
We sent you a letter 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, luckily they gave me. I was just giving you courtesy calls, score points there, and so I'm glad they did that because I'll be technically, the clock is counting down. I think it's January 5th that I have to move. I've applied for one place and it's like super awesome, but in this unvaccinated world, I won't have anyone over because I don't trust none of you mother lovers. And I'm talking to the vaccinated. I should mention, I should go onto a mechanic show. It's like, I'm still wearing a mask. Why that? Because I hang out with vaccinated people. I don't trust them. Yeah, well, fair enough.
Statistically, they are the people more likely to get it and pass it on. I mean, those are the stats, if you believe those things.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're at 90%, that's 9 out of 10 people have the vaccination. So if COVID's still, I stop. No, you're ruining. Wrong bit of the corruption. We'll get back to that.
Sorry.
Not fiddling with the stats.
As you were, Sergeant.
Thank you. Don't make me come down here. What type of voice was that? I should write that. Remember that one for my Star Wars parody. You don't remember?
There's another one.
Yeah.
That was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
That was like.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So allegedly, before Cortek pisses on me, I'm like, your numbers are wrong. I don't know why you're French.
Here is the music to pedantic man. We have to cue it up.
and French boy, pedantic man and French boy. Hello.
What do you mean we have to run and fight crime now? I have a fresh baguette right here. Well, let's stop for some cheese and baguette.
It's not a pandemic. It's pedantic. If there's 9 out of 10 people that have been jabbed, and there's still COVID going around, most likely it's them.
Let's bring it back to the fact of trying to push through an operation to make some kind of lockdown passport work, and an idea and plan that was never really properly thought through in the first place.
Well, you mean like the contact tracing app at the start of last year? They spent millions of dollars and it didn't work. Like, well, someone got $1,000 for a hammer. Someone got paid. And the interesting thing is when Victoria's opening up and it's Freedom Day. Like, yay, I can travel to Frankston, and that's it.
Not real freedom, is it?
No, well, Frankston's cool. I know people there, and it's a lovely seaside resort. But because it's the edge of the metropolitan area, I wasn't allowed to keep going down the peninsula. So it's Freedom Day. Yes,
in the big picture, it's not even Freedom Light Day.
No, it's if you go to jail.
Freedom.
Yeah, if you go to jail,
diet freedom. It's Pepsi. It's Pepsi. It's Diet Pepsi Freedom Day, which no one wants.
Well, I don't mind a bit of Pepsi if you flatten my point. It's that feeling of when you walk from your cell and you get to the exercise yard in a jail.
You mean when you've got your metal cup in your hand and you hit it across every single bar as you go past to annoy everyone that's resting as you go out?
You haven't been in jail before. You don't want to do that. There's some people have issues there.
Okay.
Yeah, just pointing it out, brother.
Just writing that down.
Yeah, look, it is that feeling. It's like you're allowed out of your cell, but you can walk to the exercise yard. That was Freedom Day for Melbourne. Now, because we should hire someone to be a mathematician and diagram out our conversations, because I have no idea what I was trying to say.
Are they debasing the word freedom just by using it like that? So even when people say, get up there and little Johnny's up there in his 3-year-old class doing his reenactment of Mel Gibson's freedom quote, and then it just doesn't have the same impact it has anymore because.
Oh, you mean like phobeist and Nazi?
No, he's got his blue face on.
Oh yeah, the pick stuff. Someone who's not got a blue face unless she's choking. That is just
by
one
choice.
Of the worst. Yeah, hey ladies. Anyway, I'm just making it worse. Give that man a shovel; he'll dig quicker.
That's how Michael Hutchins went.
We've been joined by Harry, another Victorian. How are you, sir? Are you moist? Are you wet? Oh dear God. Is it raining there?
No.
Oh dear. Okay, you sound like you.
Are you moist? Are you moist? Are you wet? Are you moist towelette?
I've got a bit of a sore throat.
No, I think you have a sore throat, not a bit of a sore throat.
Mute up and cough that frog out.
I'm just practicing for when people ask me.
Supposed to take it in the arm.
Hold on. He's in the middle of a bit. Hold on.
Oh yeah, everyone stop. Yeah, Cortek, stop him. Stop getting Harry. Go ahead, Harry.
For fuck's sake, guy. Oh, sorry.
Hey.
Asking
He
me,
said go, Brandon.
asking me, why I'm not wearing a mask. It's because of my emphysema.
That's what the world needs. One of those, those things that you used to put on people who had like lung things. They put the little shaver to the side of the neck and go like a fake one of those.
Are you my doctor? How can you talk to me like that? I'm just practicing my drama.
Yeah, keep practicing. It's pretty good.
Well, if it's good, he wouldn't have to practice then.
Practice
anyway.
makes perfect, Monty.
Yeah. Adaptation.
So how did that sound? Pretty believable.
That was all right, mate.
I don't know. Like you just threw me into this. I'm a doctor. I don't know what to think of it. What's my, what kind of doctor am I?
Basically, you're just going to end up with your pants around your ankles and be asked to cough.
All right. I don't even have to learn how to run. Just squiggle on a bit of paper and it's done.
I really hope you like emphysema.
I haven't seen her. Have you seen her, Cortek?
Is that an actual thing? Because it's a kind of catchy name.
Yeah, well, that's on it.
It's called wordplay, Cortek. Emphysema. If I see who.
Yeah. In for a penny, in for a pound, I reckon.
I missed that.
That's the imperial stuff again. Don't start that stuff. In for a 10 cents, in for $1. Yeah, I suppose penny and pound that makes more sense. Well, penny's only 1 cent.
Penny loves a good pound when you put them all together.
Oh, well, someone single.
That money.
I thought you were talking about that product comes in a 1 liter jug. I think it's called Dickens cider.
Yes, that's been around for I think the late 70s or the early 80s. I've heard that.
I heard a couple of jugs of Dickens cider for ages.
Yeah, it's classic.
All right.
That's Australian.
Yeah, go watch YouTube where they do it better. I mean, we're just.
It must be South Australian. I think I was over there when I heard that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
In South Australia, is that where Iron Knob is?
Well, we've got a Nut and Stanley in Tassie.
Yeah, well, there's a Squeaky Beach. Guess how that got its name?
By walking on it.
By walking on it, it's
Squeaky Scanned. What is with that? I don't know what does that. Some does, some doesn't.
So white and tiny. I've walked on that sort of sand. It's so white and tiny that it's like, sort of.
But the fine nature of it does.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Fine white powder.
Yeah.
Back to snowflakes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not called snowflakes. Mind you, I would like to see that as a parody of instead of like the kingpin of crack cocaine in the 80s and you call it snowflakes. Oh, he shot me. Ow. You don't see any left-leaning drug dealers, do you?
I thought there were snail lines in the sand. Must have been track marks.
Yeah. Anyway.
Was that Star Wars? Are we talking Star Wars?
Nanu. That's better.
I've watched all of Mork and Mindy, and the way that it was ended is Mork and Mindy are trapped in time.
Oh, don't spoil it.
Really?
Really, you're gonna spend 5 seasons watching all of Mork and Mindy.
So they went.
Just jumped to the last one. I had that on my list.
They went to the Caucasus Mountains then because I think they grow wild thyme up in there, and they have cannibals. So they're trapped in time there. Because if they were trapped in Rosemary, they'd be probably somewhere else.
Hey.
Herb jokes. That's right, my friends from North America. Northern Canada. I'm just trying to start fights tonight, aren't I? Oh, you're from Canada. I'm from Texas. Oh, that's Lower Canada. Herb. We say the H or H. I've had a Canadian laugh at me. He's like, "Did you say H?" It's like, yeah. At least I said the letter. What the hell is a herb?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
It's like a royal way of saying Herbert.
Herbert.
Herb. Excuse me, Herb.
Well, that's the fascination of we're speaking Australian on an American radio, global internet radio station, and apparently it's English, but you can get lost in translation.
Might as well be talking Scottish.
Oh, I don't know why, but I saw a bit of Hannah Gatsby's new comedy special. I'm wondering why it's called comedy. I can see why it's special. But
I tell you, if you go on Netflix with an idea, they'll just jump all over it.
Yeah. She was talking about how she got very popular in America. She didn't really plan for that. It was like, I can tell. And when she got to the United States, you'll have to Americanize your language. And she Australianly said, nah, but in a ruder way. But she's going to take on the word y'all because that word's inclusive. And then her joke is that the South is an ally, and all these wokey people laughed. And I watched 2 minutes of the stuff, and it didn't make me laugh at all. So yeah,
state of affairs.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it floats your boat, get in your boat and float.
Funny. The boat should be floating by the time you get in it.
Hey, do you ever sort of stand in the mirror and navel gaze and wonder whether they're all going through lockdown blues or something?
Only if it's leading into you playing that song right now.
I'm a few bars and we'll sing along.
Because there's something like this.
Yeah. I've got the lockdown blues. Well, not really, because we're out of lockdown. It's more of the tyrannical dictatorship that the general public is supporting. I think that could be a bit of a downer.
Yeah, because I'm noticing, in my little utopian world of mania, it's like I live in this bubble anyway, so it hasn't really affected me as much as it does other people because they're all walking around wearing masks and I'm not. So they're the mad ones, as far as I'm concerned.
No, now easy. You got to respect people's free will because you don't have to wear masks outside. If people choose to, they can.
Yeah, but it's insane for them to believe in the narrative. The common sense I'm talking about.
Well, if I wear a mask near people, it's my American coming out again. I do apologize.
Mask.
If I wear a mask, see, it's more nasal, as you can see there. So, welcome to Monty Dean Speaking Australian.
There's more ass in it.
Yeah, it's more. There's more a raised nasal inflection on the A, and there's an R in there, but there isn't when you spell mask. I wear my mask because I don't trust the vaccinated because who knows what they have, and so just leave people be. Don't tell other people what to do because.
No, I don't know what to do. I just think it's insane how people are walking around with masks, and there's fear in their eyes. Maybe, mind you, they had.
Well, yeah, I don't want to catch. I don't want to catch a disease that's been spawned out of the vaccinated.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to catch fear either.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't live in that fear, and you can see it everywhere. It's nuts.
Well, yeah, I've been saying that since March last year. It's all a bit wacky, a bit crazy.
Yeah, but it drips on you, it drips on people,
Yeah, you've got the media and the government pushing it, and so now you've got cultists like in my family. The vaccinated are dangerous. Why? Oh, they could kill me. All right then, maybe you should wear a bike helmet because at any moment you could fall over and hit your head.
Yeah. No, you need the Mike Strutter bubble. That's what you need.
Oh, well, I've sort of realised, I should... See, the thing is, I'm in transition of moving house. See how I paused there.
John Lawsey.
Yeah, it's a bit John Lawsey, and just to make people think of what's he talking about, he's transitioning.
Oh, I thought you were taking your bra off on radio.
See, it worked. I sort of need to move, and then I'll be sort of set. But I've decided to try and make a buck on the Inters web with this show, Patreon, get a product out there, not like Snowfall and The Wire. But yeah, but watching those shows, it's like I just need a legal product, and I'll just follow all that anyway. Self-sustaining, and I don't need much to survive compared to, say, Metallica, who get paid how much a show. If I got paid the same as Metallica in one show, that's me for about 4 years.
How much do they get paid per show?
Well, think about it. If they're playing 50,000 seaters and the cheap seats are over 100.
Good mil each, over a mil each.
Probably, yeah. I mean, they kind of. I mean, as you get closer to the stage, the numbers go up. So I had tickets for 225. So that was closer to the stage. They do well. They're not scrounging. Let's just say Metallica aren't scrounging. They just tour and they're completely fine. Now the thing is, say if I have an album or something like that. Or a comedy special, I sell it for $10, 3,000, 6,000. If I get 10,000 people across the planet paying $10 to me, is it net or gross? I never figure it. The one when I keep it after tax or whatever. I'm quite good for a year. So.
Yep. Lots of little different streams.
Well, yeah. See, and it's it sounds simple. Of course, it's hard, and you have to find marketing and finding that. But if you just do the numbers game, say you've got half the planet that you can get to because either music, Europe, the Western world, and everything else like that. I don't know how many people are in that. Even if it's a quarter, that's still 2 billion people. And if you need 10,000 people out of 2 billion, crunch the numbers, if you will.
Yeah. I was about to say I couldn't give the exact numbers on that.
Well, no, because how many zeros in a billion?
Heaps.
There's a lot. So yeah, what, 1 in a million? No, it's less than that. More than it can work out. That's my point. So
it's more or less than that.
Oh, thank you, almighty clever one. You should be my accountant.
I reckon you could be a good parody for Thor, actually, because you could do in reverse. You could become right. It's dog for red nut.
Did you say the Thor or Thor?
Thor, because it say that in reverse, right? If you do reverse language, if you take Thor backwards, it becomes rot. And V is it, and God is God, dog, and of. Instead of Thor, the god of thunder, you become rot, it dog for red nut.
Yeah, it's basically Scooby-Doo tripping balls on mushrooms.
We would have got away with it too if it wasn't for those damn kids.
If it wasn't that severely medicated dog.
What the heck is that? You guys, just a dyslexic brainwave.
I just had a thought. I will be impressed if there's a Scooby-Doo episode where Scooby gets cottonmouth. Joking. What?
It could happen. They're desperate for ideas.
See, now all the people that have taken drugs that are listening to the show, all 4 of them, are laughing their heads off at that joke.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Hang on, applause.
I've said that I won't do the sound effects anymore.
Yeah, maybe. Well, a bit after that, I could be persuaded to a bit of quality. It's been a really strange week. Like last week, I was watching all of the Lord of the Ring films and The Hobbit. So seeing Diver Dan show his quality. Ooh. See, that's a local reference.
Who's Diver Dan?
He was in Sea Change.
Oh, that dude. What's his name?
David someone.
Oh, that's like talk like that or something, doesn't he?
He was in a show. He was in a movie which was about music industry or something. But he plays a junkie, and apparently he'd played a junkie so well, he had a junkie come up and say, like, "I'm going to sue you." Why? You stole me as a character. And he's like, I've never met you before. But he was that good that he had junkies actually think that they followed him around. But, you know, when you're a junkie and you're high as a kite and your mind's getting wiped because of ice or meth or, I don't know, what are the kids called these days?
Maybe it was just one guy and he actually did.
Fentanyl.
Hey, how about I buy you lunch 5 days in a row? And then just totally just nailed it.
I think he...
Who are we even talking about? Could have it.
Right. I'll see now. Now I have to go.
No. I don't really care. But it was more of a rhetorical question. It could be anyone.
I mean, we're really orbiting close to Collingwood at the moment because it's very generic.
Well, yeah, because we are Planet Collingwood, so we're orbiting in ourselves, man.
Very, very close.
So, did you hear Keith AZ the other day on the radio?
No.
Oh, what happened?
Lord of the Rings musical. Sorry,
There's a sale at Penny's.
Yeah, I was thinking about Lord of the Rings, as a musical, because he had Conrad on there too, and they were talking about what's happening with the ascension process and stuff.
Good show.
Which was very interesting. Because it's saying exactly what I've been saying for a long time.
David Wenham.
That's his name, yeah.
Yeah. He's in 300. He's the one that survives.
Oh, that's right, and goes back to tell the story.
Yeah, and he's Faramir.
With one eye.
Yeah.
He got a poke.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, he's in Van Helsing.
Was he?
Yeah. And Peter Rabbit, 1 and 2. Okay, I'll stop looking. Yeah. And Doctor Who's come back. Yeah, let's move on. I watched it, so that was enough of that. So I didn't hear what. So what, in a nutshell, what was Keith talking about? Like, what's his version of Ascension? Because it is uniquely different to everybody.
Well, what's the name was saying? Conrad was saying it's about the biosphere being reactivated and people are charted up there to the sky domain or whatever, and some people stay on the Earth domain and stuff. And he reckons that it's not a scientific thing; it's going to be an energetic thing. But energetic is science. Now we have nanotechnology, because spirituality just means invisible. That's all it means.
Well, it's frequency.
Yeah.
What I think, because you're the center of your universe, all that stuff, whatever happens to you because you've chosen it, and the glory of creation, it's all going to happen on the same entity that is Earth, because there's if you just go by the human level, there are 7 billion versions of Earth, because we're co-creating with that experience. It's going from Bashar, not the leader of Syria, stuff. So there is no outside, everything's inside, but it's from your perspective. So you may know some Christians may actually have their version of the rapture because of their belief system, and whatever you have locked in as your belief system, and it's not wrong. It's you. You do you. That's the thing. That will happen to you. Me, I'm not sure what will happen. I just want to do a victory lap of the planet before I go, because like you work real hard, doing all this stuff and achieving things and defeating evil and all that stuff. It's like I would like to see the waterfalls in Africa.
In the 80s.
I thought you were going to do the Toto lyrics.
No, I won't.
I want to see the rain down in Africa and stuff.
Oh, no. I want to go with Andrew Bartzis and spend 4 months in the Vatican secret library.
Oh, yeah. Longer. I'll take my own tip bag or whatever. Sleep in the corner.
I want to see the white chair that Joe Biden crapped himself on.
I actually experienced the rapture a couple of times in the 80s when Blondie's song came out, and also when they started boomboxing on the streets and putting, cardboard boxes down and doing rap.
Yeah, the 80s were the best.
Yeah, except for the fluoro explosion. Hypercolor.
I just talk about the breakdancing and stuff. Hypercolor, I can leave. Fluoro, I've still got time for.
Well, it's it's interesting watching Snowfall, where it's like 1983, 1984, and because I'm from the metal world, it's like, well, that's Kill 'Em All by Metallica.
And it was all
1984.
black. No, there was no color change. It was all black.
Yeah, and you know,
I'm just pointing out the lack of heavy metal in the TV show. You do. I'm sorry.
know,
do you
sorry.
realize there's different genres of music?
I went fashion for you, and we got confused.
You know what was the most bizarre thing is being in the desert in Mount Isa, right? In this rough, you know, beat 'em up, fight 'em, drinking, womanizing mining town, right? And you got these kids like 12, 10, or 9 with their, you know, little Aboriginal kids on the streets everywhere, just doing their backbeat and rock dancing and spinning around, and other kids coming and joining, and it was so cool.
Breakdancing was a sweet time.
It changed the dynamic of what you could do with music for that culture on the street.
Did you get into any breakdancing yourself?
Oh, I can stand on my head.
Did you
So
spin?
that's a no.
I can still stand on my head though.
I want to see someone who could do like that spinny one.
I tried spinning on my head, but it just sort of hurt on my head.
I don't even know what it's
I
called.
should have wore a hat, I suppose. That probably would
Yeah,
help.
well, if you want to have a giggle, ladies and gentlemen, listen to Aussie hip hop with an Australian accent. It's so weird. So some of it's good, but other of it's like, oh yeah, like I've got a car and that. Oh,
Yeah, I can't get into most of it. Some of it's okay.
oh listen.
It's messy.
Yeah, so I said ego and like, oh, that's a bit harsh. They're quite good for what they do. Hilltop Hoods, they're quite good. I'm not a fan of them, but I don't
I've
hate
been
them
doing it
with
for
a
a
passion.
long time, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Hilltop Hoods, it's like, yeah, we write about songs that actually affect us. We don't care about, you know, the gangsters, like, look at the size of my car. Like, really don't care. And also, when they won an aria, they finished it off with, and Epstein didn't kill himself. Oh, the controversy.
Yeah, they've been at it for a while. You just got to have a bit of respect.
I like the hip hop punk band Butterfingers from Brisbane. I like them. They're good at what they do.
Is that what that punk band said, or that thing band said that Epstein didn't kill himself at the awards or something? Did they say that?
Allegedly.
Yes, he actually said Epstein didn't kill himself.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but Channel 9 reported, the controversy, because, you know, you can't break the narrative. You've got to keep the narrative. Like, you know, it's the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Like,
Well, there's no
us healthy people walking around with immune systems.
And don't
How
believe
dare you.
because there is no aliens. And if you do believe in the Bible, how can you believe in aliens when there's aliens in the Bible? Like, what the hell's going on?
Well, sorry, I don't read books by man. I rather tap into the Great Spirit.
What? Was that bourbon?
No. Jägermeister.
Oh. Yes, well, I tend to...
Yeah, take that, yeah.
Kneel,
Go for those Norse gods, you know, in a green bottle.
I tend to kneel and yield with my shot glass in hand to that.
Well, no, the thing is, at this point in time where the planet is in the rotation of the galaxy, the end of the Kali Yuga, everyone's sick of war after the 5,000 years. We've tried that whole let's have evil running the show for a while, and so how about no? So now the trick is that we'll become our own gods.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't see it that way as let's evil have running the whole show for a while. I think what happens is when you become illuminated, it gives you a sense of power and you've got a path to choose. And you can either choose a variegated force where you're shared among other people, or supremacy where you go off on your own tangent and destroy everything around you. So, you know, it's all about how that energy is harnessed. And because these people have had that energy harnessed from a time period before we knew about it, and it's been carried on through their generations, everyone's getting that harnessed energy aliving in themselves now. So we're all coming up to the speed of what needs to happen to make the change. They've been.
Or yeah, I'm leaning towards the death cult that has controlled humanity for 6,000 years. Their time has come.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. Especially like, rinse and repeat. It's like, you don't have to remember your past lives. It's more of like, can you stop? There are entities on this planet that are, started out evil and work the other side of the street. We've been on pause for so long. Even parts of negativity is like, yeah, can we go now?
Oh, what are we doing again?
Yeah, it's like that's it. I'm on the good side. You people make me sick. You're listening to Revolution Radio from Slips.com. This is Studio A, Planet Collingwood. My name's Muddy Dean. We'll be right back after these messages. Stick around. And we're back, of course, for the second half. This is Planet Collingwood, Studio A, on Revolution.radio. Big. How's this for a mental block? A big thank you to myself for the last hour. No, if you enjoyed the last hour, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can so we can continue broadcasting of this wonderful of me blanking out. But that's Planet Collingwood for you. So yeah. Okay, so I'm producing myself, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I lol. And if someone donates to me, I could actually hire a producer, but then I'll have to trust other people. And other people, hell is other people. What am I talking about? I don't know. Anyway, so donate if you can, obviously, to keep the Studio A and B going, and then pop into the chat room, hang out with awesome people. And we'll go from there. I've been lucky enough to be joined by Cortek, Pony, Harry, and John. And we're still trying to figure out if I'm breaking the law or not. But let's find out. I don't know. So,
Monty, as far as I understand, the Mad and the Lady Horse told me I was never banned.
Okay. Well, see,
so I was at Mad last week, and I drop in now and again. You're safe, man. If anybody questions you, it's all my fault. I'll take responsibility for the entire planet.
Well, that works for that. Yeah. Planet Collingwood defers to John. And if you're on a Mad Painter show, it's like, well, that's the general manager. Go talk to him. So, everyone say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you. One person. Oh, wait, what?
Hello, world.
Hello.
So, yes, it's an Australian show. We've got our token New South Welshman because, hey, we're all one. Just stay over there. I love people. That's why I don't go near them. So yeah, it's interesting.
On that side of the fence.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I can.
Yeah, that's the rabbit-proof fence that Cortek and I are talking about. Yeah, you stay over there. Idea. Yeah, you live in Surrey Hills, Perth. Good times.
Is Perth still locked up?
I think Western Australia is because it's the only state in the world that we're going to go COVID zero. It's going to be a while.
No one's going to give them an award. That's what they hope.
Hang on, guys.
They got the plaque ready to put up in the centre of town.
Can I interrupt with that analogy and the data from that? Western Australia doing this zero and closing everything down. Do you realise that it is the only state in Australia for the last 2 years who have produced a net surplus from their budget of something like $5 billion? Because while the East Coast has been closed down, they're sending their iron ore as much as they can to China and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Opening up diamond mines. Yep.
Please let me finish. If you look at the iron ore price, to pull it out of the ground at the moment, it costs 26 Australian dollars a tonne. It is currently selling, it peaked at $236 a tonne. I think it's now down to 180. They are making so much money hand over fist, is why you don't hear from Gina. Oh, she's got too much in the bank, Twiggy Forrester and the boys. You all know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Western Australia has done extremely well from this pandemic.
Yeah, basically, they're stealing our rocks. To be blunt, that's basically because if Australia is for the people and so on and so forth, but corrupt, because isn't that the problem with they had, there should be a mining tax, and the mining industry lost their marbles because they liked the profit, and they're our rocks. Where imagine if there was enough where our government could fiscally, that's the right way of saying it. I'm really weaving in and out of swear words there. Now, obviously, if the mining companies were making profit, yes, that's good. However, can't the people of Australia make profits because it's our bloody rocks? We wouldn't be in the situation that we are now, obviously, if we live in a perfect world, and we don't.
Yeah, it sounds like Australia's getting a poor deal if it's just WA divvying it up.
Well, they've got most of the special rocks. And we've
Still,
got
it's an imaginary line down the middle of the country.
Well, now,
look, there's a lot of the data is not quite true. Yes, Western Australian iron ore, but East Coast Australia coal. Now we have all these coal ships sitting off the ports in China because it's now a prohibited product. They have a serious problem. They have in the next 5 years another 234 coal-fired electricity plants coming online, which are designed and set up for Australian coal because we have the cleanest, greenest coal in the world, if there is such a thing. So the plants are set up for maximum production running off our material.
Also, if I may step in as well, the technology that is out there in the general public, you can make a clean coal-fired powered power plant because you've got scrubbers and there will not be anything being escaped. The thing is, most of our power plants are from the 1970s. And it's like, that's genuine 40-year-old technology. That's the other problem where, brown coal and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but you can have steam come out of it. Like there should be, because if you use critical thinking, you can't stop and start. It's like, shut down all the coals and then hope that your windmills pick up. It's like, well, transition from one to the other. We should have been doing that since, if the White House has had solar panels on it since 1974, why hasn't Australia, the sunburnt country, been dealing with solar panels? And we can slowly transfer over 3 to 4 decades from one to the other. I think Germany's done that. Germany in Northern Europe. We, the sunburnt country.
They don't have the best weather over there, but they're really organized.
No, that's my point. They have clouds. It's ridiculous as well. If you look at Germany, Europe, Russia, especially Russia. Russia's so big. It's a third of Asia. That's how big Russia. 140 million people on a third of Russia. Is like, yes, it's mostly cold. Don't go out there. We put you in gulag. Japan as well. Like the very fast train projects that the trains that are faster than plane or a third of planes and blah 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 blah. We're still going, I don't know, maybe if we can put it through Dave's farm, he'll be all right, wouldn't he? Like, God, we're still talking about it. It's been decades. The technology. If we built a very like a bullet train now, the Japanese would outclass us technological wise in about, by the time it's finished, it will be today's worth of technology. I think 40 years from now.
I think it's an easy way forward just to have a look and see how Japan's designed everything. That's a pretty short course to the front of the pack of how you want to do anything, whether it's putting a hook on the back of a train seat or anything.
Actually, I watched when I was able to watch documentaries. It's fascinating the level of ingenuity that the Japanese have, mainly because after World War II they were told no more bang bang toys for you, so they plowed into the technology. Their bullet trains, which I don't know exactly the top speed. It could be 300 kilometers an hour or 300 mile. They go really fast. Really fast.
Apparently they're really smooth though as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at. Where they've got shock absorbers for up and down. When you go over a bump, which they don't really go on a bump because the track is laid correctly, but they still got shock absorbers. They have shock absorbers from going left and right because of speed wobbles. they've actually designed it where you can have a glass of water in the middle of the carriage of a bullet train doing miles an hour, Mach 3, and the water is not even, like that scene in Jurassic Park when the T-Rex is walking towards the Range Rover and you can see the water. It doesn't even do that. There's no ripples or anything. And when there's an earthquake, the trains stop because everything's interconnected. Now imagine, can you imagine the Australian version of that? Something's happened. Really?
I reckon next time we stop, if something like this happens, that's what.
We'll take it to the union. We'll see what happens. All right.
Yeah.
We'll sort.
Talk about. We'll have a meeting. We'll have a royal commission. Waste some more time.
But we're fighting for our guards because we need a guy at the back with a flag.
Let's talk about some more. Yeah,
and also from the not woo, but like Sands of Time, Sean David Morton stuff. Even there's experimental stuff, maglift trains, where there's hardly any friction at all because you hold the carriage on the track, but it uses the power of magnets.
Always with the magnets.
Yeah, always with the magnets.
Gentlemen, I just chime in. I'd like to suggest that maybe I'd like to wait a little bit and not put our high-speed network on top of Australia, but put it in the tunnels below.
Yes. Yeah.
Travel faster, safer. Those glass tubes will work very well.
Making the tunnels anyway.
Yeah, and Australia's geological standpoint is pretty solid because
what is our geological standpoint?
We're just one big plate. Really? I mean, there's been earthquakes, but that's sort of rocks and water and shifting. It's not like New Zealand where the whole country is on an edge.
Split down the middle.
Split down the middle.
Both of you, I suggest.
We love you, New Zealand.
Both of you would be old enough to remember a statement made by an ex-Prime Minister about 10 years ago by the name of Bob Hawke.
Bobby, was it if anyone sacks their employer for not coming
no,
today,
that's from 1983.
Actually, after he retired, and he suggested that we should probably be building a nuclear waste facility up in northwestern Australia because it is the most stable part of the planet.
Yeah, no thanks.
And everybody
not for generations in front of us either.
Not topside. You dig deep.
Yeah, still. Who wants to be the world's, waste bin? No thanks. Irresponsible. Do it for your own country if you make it.
You realize we provide about 86% of all world's uranium.
Yeah.
So you're prepared to sell it. You don't want to take back the waste?
Of course.
Well, that's a bit naive, man. And
is it naive? I think it's a pretty good policy.
Actually, now
it's fine until you stop
if I may, there is technology and better ways of using it, so we could move on from the way that the process is now, because the thing has a half-life, and you do want to basically keep it remote, unless it's in the Marina Trench or whatever it is. The Australian outback, if it's just desert and if it's 100 kilometres below the surface, you could sort of hide stuff there. The trick is stop making more.
It's fairly irresponsible for future
generations,
though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's fairly irresponsible to dig it up in the first place.
And sell it.
You don't realise what's happening in this country. We are going nuclear very soon. And if you're naive enough not to be in that group, then I'm sorry. That's your problem.
Yeah, but what version of nuclear though? Is it the clean one? Is it therium? Is it just the crappy one that's
therium? It's a small.
Are you responsible for this?
That's available right now.
Yeah, but that's the cleaner version, not the crappy stuff that we've had since the 1940s. And that's the other problem with the nuclear power plants now. They were built in the 40s or 60s. Most of these networks need to be replaced completely. And it's fascinating with the whole climate change. It's like, well, what's the biggest driver of climate? The sun, right? Let's move on. China is building all these coal plants and everything else like that, and they're sort of expanding. And hopefully it's not Chinese built, because have you seen their work? Like, buildings falling over and everything else like that.
Do you reckon plane manufacturers are going to take this time to upgrade their planes? Because they're all about 40, 50 years old, the things in the air.
Well, you kind of need to, because if they've sat on the ground for 2 years, it's not going to, like, my mum hasn't driven her car for a month and the battery's gone flat.
My
I mean,
mum sat on the ground for 2 months. She was not well.
well, yeah, it was really annoying right in the driveway.
Couldn't get it
But
going.
but these type of planes that are usually always, it's like a taxi. Like if you don't drive a taxi, you need to run it for about 4 hours a day anyway, because the engine gets used to that use of the heat and everything else like that. When they start up the airlines and everything else like that, it's going to take a while, because when was the last time that the bulk of their fleet has just sat on the ground for 2 years?
Yeah,
and you have to check everything.
I saw a plane coming the other day, and I thought, well, oh, planes, I remember those things. And then I just saw it go by, and it had a big DHL on the side. I went, oh.
Well,
That's
it's
full
strange.
of packages. It's not full of people having a good time.
Back in the heady days of February of last year, there was
Take us back.
There was rumors, but people could see, because flight paths were like, oh, Melbourne's in lockdown. Then why are all these planes landing? What's going on? It can't be all mail, because I'm not getting any. It sort of fuels the thing. Like,
we make boxes here.
Yeah. Boxes. Boxed into a box. Anyway, it's fascinating as well. Now, there's been footage of UN vehicles here in Australia. Now, are they just the average surplus that they have? Because every country sort of has UN stuff. Are they made here?
Did we ever before? Why would we?
Why would the UN have vehicles on a continent? That's a very stupid question. Now, really, isn't it?
I know if they want to get around Africa and stuff like that, they have little forward drives they can fang around with.
Yeah, but what
is the use of them having their own vehicle,
branded
vehicle in Australia? It's a curious.
Well,
question.
if there's a humanitarian problem, my point being, are they here? My point still being is are they here as in reserve, just before anything like a comet wipes out of Sydney or something like that? There won't be a coup. That's not Australian, and yet you have the Victorian Parliament. Are they made here, which is one idea that's been put forward, or is it nefarious of like they're going to bring in foreign troops to quell the uprising because the politicians are going power mad?
Most of the ISIS Toyotas were made here.
Who's going to invade Australia, man? Come on.
Apparently,
it's
going to be an inside job. That
when
Russia's going to organise.
When the people rise, when there's a revolution against the government, the UN will come in and quell the people. Which is, I'm not saying this will happen, but in a scenario,
it's an old story about UN
How do you organise such an op? It's not possible. Where are you going to amass the troops to come in here? What, the world's going to invade Australia? We got a giant coastline.
So how did France get freed from the Nazis? Did they go, oh, you know what? It's cold now. We're going home.
Dude, have you looked at the geography, square kilometres or miles of the country you're talking about, and translated to Australia? Come on.
Yeah, we've done all the math.
Exactly, right? It's ludicrous to discuss anything World War II or anything compared to this country.
Well,
it's never been invaded except for the English, and it will never be again.
Japan had to go, didn't they?
No, they got the Papua New Guinea and was stopped. But they also, I mean, John, you may be aware because you're in the same sort of age group as myself, and you're a smart person, so you may remember history. Me, not so much. But was it the Adelaide Brisbane line? Was that if the Japanese actually invaded Australia, the country will pull.
Dude, you're close. It was the Brisbane line. If you drew a line across the whole of Australia from Brisbane to probably. It'll be around Exmouth, the Pine Gap, the Harold Holt base. That was considered our line of defence. Yeah, everything up before that.
Yeah, the top third, basically.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Basically, all the sandy bits where the Aboriginals can survive, but why people burn to death because they're silly
and get eaten.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was reports of a couple of Japanese boats and units were found in the mangroves.
Just the boats.
Yeah, well, basically because they tried to land in northern Queensland, and it's like and the Australian fauna's gone nah, because there's nothing up there.
If you land in northern Queensland, you better understand crocodiles.
Yeah.
Because a small boat's not going to help you.
Exactly. A friend of mine used to live in Darwin, and the tourists will always ask, "Are there any sharks in the bay here in Darwin?" Oh no, all the other alligators, all the crocodiles ate them.
If you don't think the UN has information on places in Australia, they do. There's a UN low code thing I've just put in the chat there.
Yeah, I'm sure they list this shit out of a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure there's paperwork for it, but I think what John's trying to put forward is the actual manpower. I mean, China probably it will take a while to get here because the land is so big. There's only 25 million people of us.
Dude, you got to look at the geography around the country. Where is their main staging base and where are they coming from? It's 500 kilometres away. It's a big mission just to get here. It was easier for me in the 90s to bring barrels of giant New Guinea head over the border.
New Guinea what?
Yeah.
Head.
Thailand, New Guinea. The only marijuana plant I've ever seen grow to 25 feet.
There you go.
Ooh.
Cannabis.
It's like a tree.
Yeah, it's funny. The thing about, in Europe, you can drive for 8 hours and drive through 16 countries. Here, you're still in Queensland. I mean, for our American friends, Western Australia is a third of the country, and it's basically Arizona to the coastline from Vancouver down to Tijuana. That is all one state. The entire the western third of the United States is one state in Australia, and it's 5 million people, or is it 2 million people? How many people in Western Australia?
Not many. The ratio between people in Tonka trucks is almost even.
Yeah, it'd be around 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah.
I think Melbourne Victoria were about 5.8, New South Wales about 7.2, and then it goes down from there. But yeah. Yeah,
Melbourne is up to 6 point. Well, see, we don't know because 40,000 people left last year because of the politics. And they're like, well, yeah, because our parliament's insane.
I'm up in northern Victoria, and prices, real estate are going through the roof. Everybody wants to get out of Melbourne.
Yeah, and it's just it's that on a basic thing is people in a way want to be self-sufficient. They want to be left alone. They're tired of everyone telling them what to do. Where this whole overpopulation thing. If we had better management, we wouldn't be. Yeah, it's so bad management. Now, if we use the number 7 billion people, that's what they say allegedly, but government departments, they're idiots.
Do they arrive at these population figures on what agriculture is producing?
No,
I don't know because
it's all based on what's easy to control.
Exactly.
That's my point. Yeah, my point being,
what we grow that we throw away because you guys won't buy it from the supermarkets, or the supermarkets say this is unsaleable produce, is probably 25% of what we produce.
Yeah, it's the amount is just is quite disgusting. How there's people starving, but there's food being blah blah. My quick point is, and then it will be a foundation, and then we can expand on this stuff. So don't get me wrong. If you gave everyone a quarter-acre block, which was the Australian dream, for 7 billion people, you would cover all of Australia except for half of Queensland. Now, obviously, we don't want to do that because there's no roads and everyone will be on top of each other. Yeah, this is basically the population can move into Australia and there'll be half of Queensland empty, and the rest of the world as well. Because I remember housemates, but you can't get people to do that. It's like there's Hawaii. Why would you want to move to a desert when there's Hawaii?
That sounds like we got heaps of room.
Yeah, that's the point. It's like we have heaps of room, but they keep forcing us into little boxes like New York or Los Angeles. Like Australia can move into Los Angeles. Like that's how many people are in Australia.
You can put Cap Tesla obelisks in the desert under underground water systems, and the rain will come.
I'd like to do that.
Or you get your orgone on, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Like, as was said here on Planet Collingwood, most of the solutions to save the planet are already out in the general public. There's a controlling mechanism. Imagine if cars ran on water instead of gasoline or petrol or whatever you want to call it. Imagine if it was salt water. Now, the problem is you need to have something to catch the salt because you don't want salt everywhere.
Well, they're powering the US ships with the saltwater engines, aren't they?
Yeah.
That was like 5 years ago they did that.
Yeah.
Hydrogen technology is already with us.
Yeah, Ford had
Toyota
it. Ford had it in the 50s.
Because you got to realise that electric, all this battery, it's all beautiful. But dude, I can't run commercial tractors and equipment, high-level cartage, our trucks in Australia on this bullshit battery system.
Yeah, no talk.
We clean hydrogen energy. There's no other way.
Yeah.
Well, it is a good way of explaining it as well, because my mum and her partner were talking about there was an ad for Lexus and their new electronic car and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's nice, $60,000 to $70,000 a car. It's like, well, good luck with that. Not many people can afford that, and when you do. When do you charge, and how long does it take to charge? Because my stepdad, I was driving him back from a health appointment, we'll say it that way, and I had to fill up not fill up the tank, but we had to get fuel because my car was putting. And he was saying, to recharge, how long does it take to recharge a Tesla? Because a full tank, you could drive in, fill up your tank, and you'll be out of there in less than 10 minutes in real time. Now, imagine sitting there. Oh, you got to wait 6 hours for your car to recharge. Well, that's just great. And, of course, in commercial sense, they're not at that level yet. Speaking of mining, have you seen those Tonka trucks where the tire is bigger than two men? And apparently some are on electrical. But still, if you don't have charging stations, what's the point of, like, if I want to drive and go see John?
It's not saving fuel. It's not saving energy.
Yeah.
Just to add another one, family friend who boasted for 10 years, back probably 2013, bought one of the Tesla S's here.
Can we guess who their name is? Is it a man or a woman?
It's a man.
Wait, Cortek, no, we're not playing Guess Who. I want to hear the story.
The only thing that's important is he went round with all this, we've all got our collections, and he's going, oh, well, I'm clean, I'm green. And he's a left-wing Melbourne,
Mac user.
game player. Was actually chief brewer for Carlton United Breweries Worldwide.
Oh.
Retired.
Just because he drinks beer doesn't make him a wanker. Not a wanker.
Guess what? 2 weeks ago, he comes to us, I got to replace my batteries. $50,000.
Yeah, cop that.
Right now, hang on.
Who's smirking now?
You've been agreeing. Look at that. And where's your batteries going? Who's dissolving them? Who's making them cut them?
I hope you're recycling those responsibly.
I don't know.
Take that, smirky McSmirk face.
Yeah, like the CO2 that it makes is needed when making these batteries and lithium and everything. Oh, but I'm using less petrol. But you use 3 times as much to create the bloody car.
Exactly. Basically, to create each car, we have to, in theoretical terms, kill 200 people.
How many recharging stations will we need up the Hume Highway from Melbourne to Sydney?
Loads.
I've actually seen a photo, and it
doesn't mean it shouldn't be done.
This will make you laugh. Where an electric car has run out of charge, and they call their local motoring organisation for this example. They're called the RACV, and they brought out a diesel-powered generator to recharge the car.
I saw that clip. Is that a YouTube clip? I think I saw that. Or I saw something of the similar nature where a guy kept a generator, 2 kVA generator, in the boot of his car for situations like that, like a jerry can, and he'd just sit there and wait for it to recharge.
If I'm reading this right, because it's a strange font, but Blessing in chat room is just like, for $50,000 you can get a nice horse and buggy.
Really nice horse and buggy.
Yeah, and have a lot of money over for the stable.
Yeah, and then you can put a party on in the stables.
And you can power your house on the horse poo.
I'm not sure whether this info is true, but have you heard that this Glasgow summit, as they did 4 years ago in wherever it was, they've got their Tesla fleet of cars ferrying people in and out with a diesel generator powering them up.
Yeah, they did. They actually let the fleet in, and they had to get all the. It just didn't offset each other. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a show, doesn't it?
You've seen it. I mean, they're hypocrites.
Yeah. Well, Joe Biden.
Hey, you can make a solar steam generator just by having a bit of coil, copper pipe, or whatever.
Mr. I'll bring in science. Calm down.
But just get those old, the old flat screen TVs, the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
That lens, the front lens there, is a Fresnel lens. So what that does, that focuses to some point like a big magnifying glass, like a huge magnifying glass.
Nice.
All you need to do is set up an array to focus that on your coil for your water that's running through that copper pipe, and bang.
Bang. Boom.
Yeah. Apparently, Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden's motorcade has 85 vehicles. How many Depends does that man has?
He's just trying to confuse everyone so the sniper doesn't know which one he's in. Could be one of 85. I remember when George Bush Sr. came to Australia and they brought the Beast. I think there was 4 cars. There was, 2 of the SUVs in the front and the back, and then you had the thing, and then he did the peace sign backwards, which in this country means up yours. So yeah, that was funny. But 85 cars. When is this?
They are taking the piss, aren't they?
When is this Scotland conference? Is it right now? Or
it's now. It's right now. Day 2 finished just before.
This is basically this is totally fucked. Oh, language. Sorry. This is totally go Joe Biden. This is what do we do? We're going to stay here all night.
This is why a lot of people are saying 2050 is the next cutoff point for emissions. Go ahead, John.
I don't know whether it's true, but I've seen flashes on the internet that Biden's been evacuated from Glasgow.
Well, interesting enough, when he was in the Vatican, he evacuated his bowels in the Vatican, and you can tell as well because it's the same day, different color suit, and he was falling asleep when Prince Charles was talking. Now, granted, a lot of people do that because Chuck is boring as bat poo. Oh, and it was like I've been trying to bring awareness. And it's like you have the carbon footprint of 430 people. Shut up.
You've never done an honest day's work in your life.
No, he did. He was in the Navy. Granted, he was a radar dish, but he was in the Navy.
See,
I rewrote that joke.
On the bow of the ship, looking left and right.
Biden is our version of Dan. Public servants all their life, never run a business or anything else.
Mm.
So they grew up within the system, they'll die within the system. They are controlled by the system.
Yes. Yeah. I was watching the Freeway Rick documentary, and a young Maxine Waters was on there. I'm like, oh, wow, she's been in there a long time. And it just like all this career. There's a rumor, which I saw on Twitter, Nancy Pelosi may not run for a re-election next year because of the way that Virginia went tonight.
What did happen in Virginia, and how can we repeat that more often if it's turning bad people out?
It flipped from blue to red. It went Republican. Youngkin, if that's how you say his name, has won. And he was campaigning against wokeness and chaos, not chaos theory. Well, it could be close to chaos theory. The critical race theory and everything else like that. And so it just looks bad for Biden because he'll be cleaned up in the midterms. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I found the.
No. Discuss the chaos theory. The 500-year delta, it appears to be there's some mathematics behind it.
Now you've done it, Monty.
Well, I just know the term chaos theory. I don't know exactly what it is.
It was
just,
just a turn of phrase. It was just a turn of phrase.
No, it's a book written in about 84, I think, called The Chaos Theory and the Delta, 500-Year Delta.
okay.
And it talks about what we're going through now.
Ooh, all right.
I found the families of the fingers who are puppeting Dan.
Oh, geez, you want to reword that?
Did
That
you
came
say
out
the
wrong.
family fingers?
I know the families that fingering Dan. No, sorry, wait. The fan.
I
Dan's
found
a puppet.
families of the fingers who are puppeting Dan.
Is that the eugenics thing that you spoke about 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I've been meaning to ask you. A listener wanted to get a copy of that, so I'm going to click on that, and I'll be adding that to. I'll be
Yeah. All right. Yeah, because that's this is we need to understand is the history of what's really going on, because we're all confounded by what we're presented with this current mania of reality, right? And
This is not a new theme kind of thing.
Yeah, it isn't a new. It's a bit of planned event. It's like it is a pandemic, as John was saying, and it boils down to, and the reason why Melbourne is the showcase is because of these families who have ingrained in our culture. Berry Street clinics for people who have family relationship problems or women escaping violence with young families and stuff like that throughout Melbourne. And
well, it makes sense because all the other major cities in Australia are former penal colonies or close to former penal colonies. Melbourne was started by someone called Batman, not the guy from Gotham. I'm getting in before Cortek says something. Or Faulkner. There's arguments over that, but the point is, it was settled just as a town, and then I think 5-10 years later, they found gold in central Victoria, and it was around the same time there was the gold rush in like 1849 in San Francisco, and around the planet there was gold rush. And Melbourne basically built itself on the back of that. And if we're talking, richness and money and families, it has been said that Melbourne's a Rothschild's hub, and it's like, well, that doesn't surprise me at all, because it wasn't really a governmental. It started by people and then got extremely rich and popular.
Definitely a gold hub, huh?
Yeah, basically, yeah, because of I mentioned about the Chinese today in the local area. You can tell the ones that have been here for decades, they're fine, they're Australian. But the new people from Hong Kong in the last 10 years is like, okay, you're extremely racist. But in Victoria, John, you'll be familiar with this as well. We've had Chinese since 1850, and it's only been the last been the last 2 decades that there's a problem.
Yes.
Look, what is a problem?
That gold rush was Bendigo.
Yeah.
It's got to come through. Melbourne.
If you look at the buildings there that are still, I don't know why they're still allowed to be there, they are quite sensational. And that's when the wealth came to build Melbourne as a city. Yes, you're right. Melbourne was never a penal colony. It was an enclave for the families to come here to build the infrastructure the country needed, which is why there's always been this silly idea of Melbourne old money, Sydney new money.
Yeah, that's a bit silly because Sydney's first, but yeah, I understand. I would say now.
Actually, Hobart was going to be the capital.
Yeah, that could make sense as well because technically, according to the Dutch, I think Tasmania was discovered first, and it was called Van Diemen's Land. Anyway, I'm being
That's
semantic.
Western Australia, yes, Van Diemen's Land.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, who was originally here? The Aboriginal inhabitants that have been here a long time. But why do we see in Sydney, in Queensland, and in Victoria Egyptian sites with hieroglyphics?
Yeah.
And then we get back into a picture. I don't know whether you want to go down that rabbit hole, but there's a lot to be questioned.
Yeah. Well, doesn't the Spanish have a treaty with a Aboriginal tribe? Because it wasn't Australia as a continent back then wasn't one country. It was 700 different nations. Like where I am right now.
Little suburbs.
Yeah, right now where I am at, it's the Kulin Nation, KUL.
Tribal lands, man.
Yeah,
Monty,
yeah.
right, tribal lands.
Yeah, and I think it was like 3 or 4 tribes that formed the nation. And so, but the Spanish, before Captain Cook stole, that's what it was, in Cocktown. What's the luck? But he went up to Queensland, planted the flag, and said, "I claim these lands for King George, not for the British Empire, but just for Georgie, the one that went nuts." The Spanish actually have a treaty with a tribe predating that on kangaroo skin. Because they were, everyone knew about Australia, and those who could get here were coming here. Like the Egyptian stuff, they were coming here for spiritual teaching.
Jeez,
I think that's it.
In Arnhem Land, they've got tribes up there. They have a sun god called Ra. So it goes back thousands of years, and this whole the story that we're told is just bollocks.
Well, what's the distance
or is it
between?
The same story?
Well, no, there's connections. What is the distance of the tip of northern Queensland and Papua New Guinea? It's only
not very far.
80 miles, 100 kilometers or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazily close.
Yeah, so imagine before the sea level went up. That's a totally different conversation, ladies and gentlemen. There was land bridges. That's how people got to Tasmania as well, because that was still part of the mainland and stuff like that. I mean, I blow people's minds when I point out that the Chinese had the opportunity, but the Chinese could technically actually make it around to Norway, because all they had to do was follow the coastline.
Yep, and also there's a warm stream. There's a stream that goes through the Arctic Circle as well. You can follow. It comes back down again up through Mexico and around again. But there's also the other things that you're talking about is that another level of existence that we lived in was when we could teleport between temples before the ice came on Earth as well.
I think, that's a different level of frequency, and because when was the destruction of Atlantis? Was it the latest ice age, which is 12,000 BC? And it's fascinating where apparently, ice age, cavemen, and then 6,000 years later, Sumeria at its height. Wait, go back. How can a civilization start at its
still
top
doesn't fit, does it?
and slide slowly into decay? It's like the pyramids, which are global. The Egyptians are greedy. Like the Giza, the 3 at Giza on the Giza Plateau, perfect, awesome. How did they do this? And every other built pyramid after that just gets crapper. It's like photocopying something. It's a copy of a copy of a copy.
We try it, but we just can't make it so big.
Yeah. Yeah, they got some Italians in. Hey, maybe we cut. Yeah, have you thought about concreting everything?
We do a recap. So Sandy.
Let me put you into the mind's eye of oneness, right? Everyone talks about oneness and all this sort of stuff that, you got to be one with the universe and all that sort of thing.
Some people do.
Yeah. There was a oneness that existed. That was before when they had the perfect pyramids. But the pyramids were what we've got now. They were coated, of course, they were sheened and shining and brilliant and capped in gold. Okay.
Do you think they just had 33% more attention span because they didn't have smartphones and stuff?
No, well, smartphones don't exist.
No, the more of a spiritual connection, I think, what Harry's alluding to.
Yeah. There was a telepathic communication. The only smartness was the frequency of the energy of the Earth itself. But it's true. It's how it existed. It's like it's all there. But where all the sands came from the great sands of the deserts, from the ice caps, from the torus field that we live in, they came from the firmament, and that's what's happened the first time. Bang, instantaneously. Petrified forests, which you see under the sands, buried civilization, and the remnants were left, like Egypt and Mesoamerica and China and other places. And other places you hear stories where they went underground. They didn't survive at all. They had to go underground to survive, then came back out, and their people came from the earth, And then you hear about the Iroquois stars people, sky people, who came from the sky. So and we know about the Van Allen belts, and this, all the ancient writings talk about Tiamat and or Marduk, whatever it is, Marduk.
Naming the planet
Yeah.
that it was destroyed.
It's a watery planet. And if you're putting two and two together with today's technology, hydrogen, the age of Aquarius, water bearer, it's a water type energy system, okay, which is also the Ark of the Covenant.
Sounds like a big anomaly to have in a system where there's nothing like it.
So,
well, yeah. What I find fascinating is if you want to bake people's noodle, is you talk about the Sphinx, where they've discovered through science, it's not settled because that's not true science. However, they've discovered that the up until about the 1800s, it was covered in sand. Someone found it and they dug it out, and now we can see it. But at the back end of it, they've discovered that there's 10,000 years of water erosion, and the last time that there was water rainfall in that area is 7,000 years ago. So.
Apart from not long ago when it snowed.
Yes, but
that was a little weird.
Yeah, but that wouldn't cause such so many. Yeah, it's starting again. My point is, it looks like the Sphinx has been there at least 17,000 years. 17,000 years.
Kind of longer than anything there.
yeah.
Did people get in? Was there a complex of tunnels inside and underneath the Sphinx? Because I believe there was. If you see a whole bunch of photos, you actually see that they initially made their way through the head of the Sphinx and found the tunnels. Did anyone see that?
Yeah.
If you see some old photography, you'll see some themes kind of present in some, depending on when it was taken and why the person was there to take the photo. But a lot of the time, they were kind of just wondering if there was something inside it, and actually kind of did find something, I believe.
I think Dave Cornell, or what was his name, was talking about that too, wasn't he? Getting in there.
It's super interesting old photographs.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they got in, but they kept it all hush-hush at the end of the day.
Because that was supposed to be the entrance to the tombs of initiation, going all under the pyramids and all that kind of stuff between the legs of the Sphinx.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be an easy thing to.
The Akashic records.
Well, more of an issue. I think there's records of Plato going there and doing the initiation.
Case did the readings of the Sphinx and the pool. They pulled that out a long, long time ago. That's all gone, disappeared. Human race will not be able to access that.
Yeah.
No, it was more of initiation rites.
Yeah, people actually say I should let go of things. It's like, I'm sorry, I still cannot let go of the burning of the Library of Alexandria.
Okay.
I know I need to let go. It's been thousands of years, but damn it, that one hurt.
Yeah. Well, they're still doing the same in Palmyra and other places at the moment. Just destroying all the old architecture through the war and that.
What's the bet? The Vatican's got some kind of you don't attack us or we'll take it all with us kind of button.
Well, they've got all the codexes from South America.
But what's the bet?
There's so much knowledge.
Destroy it.
But they haven't though. They've stored it and kept it from you. They want the knowledge
only
themselves.
As a bargaining tool.
Yeah, if they've either got copies of it or they've got the true better knowledge and kept that from themselves and destroying the rest of it, so people won't figure it out.
We're so benevolent now while we're polishing our gold bowls and plates.
Well, like, the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, or however you say it. I'm sure there's only two pieces from that story which make complete sense to a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? It could be a possibility like that, where it's fascinating, everything else like that. But if you had, part A and part B to add to the whole jigsaw, bang, a 5-year-old could understand it. But they've taken that little bit of knowledge out of it, and it is what it is. Sorry, John, go ahead.
Imagine if you had that many different, the amount of minds on the planet look at those things there in different ways and just see them in different ways and solve everything in a day. Sorry, go on.
What if I just wanted to bring up is you're quoting Egyptian mythology. Why not go even further back to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is recognized 27,000 years before Christ.
Yeah, it's
not been talked about.
No, I heard Graham Hancock say the other day, history just keeps getting older and older. This brings up the fact, what ridiculously, how do we see ourselves when we think we can just stamp a date on this based on things that, not everyone believes? How can we fix this to Do we
for
just not talk about date or time, or how do we talk about time then?
Well, for one reason, you've got to stop teaching kids that people in history are stupid. Because, like, that's what I went through. There's this illusion of, like, we are the smartest people on the planet. We are the best. We're the apex of humanity and intelligence. It's like, okay, build a pyramid. Right, get out.
Build a pyramid that you can't even fit a card in the joints.
It's ingrained through our culture, like even with the Syrian execution, it's like we are told that we come from a microbe or something, which is some sort of snot or something. So of no significance. When really you're looking from a different point of view from the Ayurvedic traditions and stuff, there's a whole array of gods and deities that have a part of this cosmos, right? And it goes back
to say they're still not a part of the cosmos.
Exactly, that's the thing. So the thing is the empirical standards of the British Empire, industrial expansionism, if you want to call it that, has wiped out anything nonsense that does not relate to the industrial expansion of the British Empire.
Wiped out any spirituality that's not marketable. What's to say that's what's got us in this current mess is ignorance of a pantheon of gods rather and more to one that seems to have fallen asleep on the job.
God's an Englishman, don't you know, old boy? I mean, God's an Englishman. That just proves everything. I mean, what's wrong with you?
Whatever we're doing,
and that's the problem. And that's the problem. God's an Englishman. Yeah, right.
I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, Jesus was the only person to find 10 or 11 disciples with with English names.
Like Christopher, he definitely wasn't English.
Thomas, it's like, what's wrong with Habib or Arby or something like that?
Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's like, I think someone's been fiddling with the story here. Yeah, Jesus was white hair and blue eyes.
It's interesting. It's interesting though. Historically, the big debate of Christianity, whether it's a fairy tale or all the other stuff that people believe it to be, is that they don't relate these actual figures in the Bible, actual historical documented people through history. This is the anomaly that people have misunderstood because it doesn't seem to be like a relevance. There's people around that sort of time. And this is what the myth has been. But there's a guy called Ralph Ellis, who's a historian in England.
I know that guy.
Yeah, who's actually linked it. He says what's happened is the Romans changed the dating system to put people off, to give them this streamlined, quick food, fast food message to get people to go onto a belief system that'll work for them. And
I think if you check back, you'll find a member of Rev Radio called the Greek has identified 3 Christs.
Yeah,
which Christ are we talking about?
What
religion you follow?
The one who led the king of Edessa, who led the Jewish revolt. That dude.
Yeah, well, he was a
Jesus number 2.
After.
Yeah, there's many, and it's and also
many.
I mean, in history, apparently, the way history is completely messed up. It's amazing that us Australians can talk for 2 hours without. Well, apparently 2 of you couldn't. But we so many words that we could say, but we can't because we're on air. But if we're off air, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be very colourful with our language. Anyway, the history is messed up completely because there's 2 pharaohs who are brothers, but apparently they lived 400 years apart.
Well, all you needed to do to claim the throne in Egypt back then is to have a mother who said they had a dream where they did it with a god, and that was basically all the proof you needed in those days.
Well, and what about the Zeus problem, where apparently any woman that was caught being an adulterer, she was pregnant from someone apart from their husband, Zeus came down as a duck and had sex with
There was a flutter in the curtains at the window. I left it open.
And there was
next thing I knew.
Yeah, Zeus is so randy, he turns into animals and has sex with women. Yeah, shocking. We are at the end of Planet Collingwood. Thank you for sticking around. It's been an interesting show. We just turn up and see where it leads, and it leads to the end, let's be fair. But it's a journey to get from A to B or Z, because I'm Australian English, not American English, yet. I'll make it Arizona. I don't like.
I'm sticking with the Z.
And as far as countdowns go, in history and stuff, look at December. The 12th month when it means 10. October.
Oh yeah. Well, Julius and Augustus are the 2 extra months to stuff up that completely.
Yeah.
Because we're just going into November, which means 9, which is the 11th month.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Yeah.
What we need to do is push it to 13 months and sync it with the lunar cycle.
No, yeah,
but
moons.
What the
moons.
toughest thing to do is to come up with a catchy name for that 13th month. It's like Sunday 2.0. It's like an extra Sunday before Monday. All right. Yeah, that's got that kind of Marvel vibe to it.
We're running out of time. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. Just one last thing. I find an unusual reoccurrence happening. If one remembers 2012 in Nibiru, look at the numbers on 2012-21. We are saying a mirrored object. Mm-hmm. I would say just see what happens around that date, and I'm expecting an unusual occurrence.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was Planet Collingwood. If you enjoyed the show, please donate to the station, myself, or to your fellow man or woman and the children, whatever you want. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours with another Planet Collingwood. Have fun and just, chill, man. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.